Uh, Good morning. Good morning. Today is Sunday, the 1st of October. Um, my name is Funton Daniel. Um, Today is the darkest day in the Anglophone Southern Cameroon. Uh, I am a registered nurse by profession. I work in the most brilliant brilliant hospital here in the state of Texas. I work with the wonderful, brilliant nurses, and they are very excellent, and we're providing excellent care to patients in across North Texas, here in Texas. And I was educated here in this wonderful, beautiful state of Texas. And before I start, I migrated from the Southern Cameroon territory, which is an Anglophone territory, which is, I've been talking about it. It's a colonial territory, was colonized by Britain, and under the United Nations mandate territory. We have been living together with the French colony, which is called La République, and I have been talking about it recently. And we are in a state of separation. Today marks our first day that we decided unanimously officially separate from the La République. We have made this known to the United Nations body, which monitor all global affairs in international community. I know I have been posting pictures of brutal shooting and killing in the Southern Cameroon territory. It is difficult for me to stand in front of you to talk about these issues, and this problem could have been prevented if the United Nations do their job effectively. United Nations failed in every aspect to carry on his duty to prevent this genocide going on in the Southern Cameroon territory. Our leaders met the United Nations officials, their official delegations indicate their positions, and their position statements state that they no longer be part of La République. And it is the duty of the United Nations to recognize that Southern Cameroon is a free territory. Southern Cameroon was never a colonial territory of La République. Southern Cameroon was a United Nations Trust territory in 1961 that granted partial independence. And then we are calling the United Nations to respect those, the 1961, 1st of October 1961, respecting the decisions. And that Southern Cameroon now become a full nation, that they do no longer need La République for any support or any officials. Our government was disbanded and discarded when La République officially forged the 1972 referendum, which was arbitrarily abusive. And the current brutal dictator, Paul Biya, in 1982, single-handedly signed a decree, abolished the entire nation, and formed what is now known today as Republic of Cameroon, and arbitrarily disregard to the Anglophone speaking, despite the fact that we are member of the Commonwealth of Nations, which is a British organizations that respect those who use English as an officials. La République did not recognize, even though they are member of these organizations. they fail to respect this organization's duty that the people of Southern Cameroon are independent nations, and that since they are part of these organizations, they also have to have their own identity respected. Instead, a single individual uses a single stroke of pen while the entire 7 million of Anglophones. And our leaders have come to the United Nations asking United Nations, it is imperative that you respect the 1961 decision. And United Nations didn't respect this. And today is the anniversary or celebration mark all the entire territory. As I have been watching the pictures or images coming out from the Southern Cameroon territory, it's horrible and it's a nightmare. It shouldn't be in this way. It shouldn't be a massive killing. The Anglophones have a legitimate right to question the authority, to question La République, because they are also a full nation like La République. Instead, they send a massive troops, soldiers, and brutalize the innocent. And the images that I have posted in Facebook and elsewhere in the social media are horrific. I am a registered nurse by profession, and I render my services to this beautiful nation on earth, the most powerful nation on earth. And when I look at the images of people being slaughtered, grossly killed by a nation that we just choose them to be part of our nation so that we can form and create resources for the benefit of all. And when I see these images coming out from the social media about the massive killing and shooting at a random by the soldiers of the nation, which we are not colonized by them. We are a free nation equally like them. They have their independence in 1961. In the 1960, pardon me, while we have our independence in 1960, they have their independence in 1960, while we have our independence in the 1961. As I live in this beautiful and the most prosperous, the most strongest nation on earth, I am asking myself, and I am asking the government of the United States, I'm asking the President, Donald Trump, it doesn't have to be like this. I'm asking you to intervene, to God to open you a divine mind to intervene on behalf of our territory. I am serving here, offer my services to this beautiful nation because they recognize me. When I took the U.S. government, it talks about freedom. When I took U.S. history, it talks about freedom, how this nation was built. And this freedom is the principles which I am exercising my duty and respect that value. And when I look at the images coming from my hometown, I believe there is something absolutely wrong. And I am calling the U.S. Department of Defense, I'm calling the U.S. Secretary of State, I'm calling the U.S. Congress, I'm calling the U.S. Senate. Please do not ignore this because there is a brutal killing going on in my home country. I believe something can be done, and I believe the United States has the might to stop this gross killing. The people of Southern Cameroon, for which I was born, is free to be able to exercise those duties. They are free. They don't need a colonial master to tell them how they're going to live, what kind of food they should eat, what needs to be done. Southern Cameroon was a full nation. They have its capital in the Boya. And that capital was recognized by the British government. Today, the massive images that have been posted in the social media is horrible. I believe the United States government has something to do about this. I believe the United Nations failed wholeheartedly to respect what the leaders were come here and moving all around the state. If a city in the United States can understand that there is a problem in the Anglophone speaking and recognize it as a full independence, I believe the United States Congress, I believe the United States Senate, I believe the American people should come together and stand against the brutal killing that is going on in the southern Cameroon territory. Today mark the 56 years or 57 years since Cameroon, the southern Cameroon territory, was granted independence by the United Nations in 1961. However, they have now respected that integrity of the southern Cameroon territory. And today, you see the horrific images that I'm posting on the social media. It shouldn't have to be like this. The people of southern Cameroon should be able to live as independent nations. They have well educated, they have been to the highest university, they have the quality of education any other nation should be able to have. They have educated in all the best universities in around the world. And when I look at the images coming from the southern Cameroon territory, when our young daughters and brothers are being horrifically rolled on the ground today, going on, the people cannot express themselves. The people cannot move, they cannot walk. By the brutal force of La République, southern Cameroon need to be free. I am asking the United States government, it's time for you to come and stand against the brutal force of La République. Help the people of southern Cameroon. Let them stand and be a full nation. Because you have nations that were recognized by United Nations. They have just 3 million or 3,000 people that were recognized as a full independent nation. Southern Cameroon is over 7 million people, and they should be able to stand as a full nation. They shouldn't be brutally killed and roasted like by the forces of La République, whom they invite as a neighbor. Instead, they turn their Anglophones to become a colonial master. I am asking the United States government, I'm asking Nikki Haley, who is the U.S. Permanent Secretary to the United Nations, it is time you stand and say no. Don't only focus on the Middle East, focus on Africa, because Africa is part of the world. United States is a leader of the free world. United States doesn't focus only on the Middle East. There is a brutal killing going on. I'm asking Nikki Haley, it is time to just turn your face angle 90 and look at it, South Africa. What is happening in Africa? Don't only focus interest on the Middle East, because Africa is going crazy. Human souls should be valued everywhere, not just the Middle East, but look at Africa. We have a brutal dictator that came to address United Nations, and he going home and declared that there's nothing going wrong. Meanwhile, there are massive killing going on now. As I'm speaking or I'm addressing this thing, I'm asking Nikki Haley, the U.S. Secretary, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. I'm also asking U.S. Secretary of State. I'm asking Member of Congress. I'm asking U.S. Senate. Please, it's time to stand and focus and look at what is going on. Southern Cameroon is an English speaking. There are 7 million. There are more than other nations that are full independence. Please, I'm asking you, it's time to look. Just focus 1 minute and look at what is happening. Thank you, and everybody, and thank all those who have been watching. Good night.